Argent D'Nur, the final level of Doom 2016. Speedrunning this level, in the majority of the glitch-heavy speedrun categories, such as any percent and all secrets, is a nerve-wracking test of skill at the very end of the game. Every Doom 2016 any percent or all secrets speedrunner who enters Argent D'Nur on pace ahead of their personal best knows that they still have to overcome a portion of very scary, precise movement, followed by an even scarier drop into the Spider Mastermind boss room, and finally, completely obliterating the Spider Mastermind in a trivial boss fight. If you thought that was a lot of craziness already, then strap in for more, since the Doom 2016 speedrun community recently found a huge new discovery in any percent. My name is Daravae, and in this video, I'll be going over this new discovery, showcasing a bit of history, different iterations of the discovery, and how it eventually got mastered, and break down on how it exactly works. This is the story of the Spider Mastermind skip. Before I start talking further about the discovery of the Spider Mastermind skip in any percent, it's important to note that skipping the Spider Mastermind boss fight isn't anything completely new on its own. Skipping the Spider Mastermind boss fight is in fact already possible in the NG Plus or New Game Plus category, and is made possible through the use of a feature in Doom 2016 called Photo Mode. Photo Mode is a feature in Doom 2016 exclusive to completed save files, and allows players to freeze time during gameplay and take pictures, letting players tweak a bunch of things such as the camera's field of view, as well as having a bunch of filters available to apply to photos. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, how is a feature that freezes time useful in a speedrun? Well, as it turns out, Photo Mode, just like a lot of other things in Doom 2016, is a very glitchy feature. The feature unintentionally allows players to survive lethal fall damage by entering Photo Mode after falling from a lethal height and leaving Photo Mode as soon as the player touches the ground. Not only is Photo Mode useful for preventing lethal fall damage, Photo Mode also has another big advantage, which is that Photo Mode actively allows players to activate in-game triggers when touching these triggers, such as checkpoints while in Photo Mode, even when the time in-game is completely frozen. Now that you learned about how Photo Mode is useful for speedruns in Doom 2016, let's look at how it's useful for speedrunning in Argent D'Nur. In Argent D'Nur, below the Spider Mastermind boss room, is a very large rocky surface which separates the Spider Mastermind boss room from the absolute last room in the game, which speedrunners like to call the credits room. The credits room is a room that is fully loaded upon entering Argent D'Nur and is only used for the final cutscene of the game. After defeating the Spider Mastermind, the game warps the player to this room directly below the Spider Mastermind boss room and activates the final cutscene before going into the credits. With the help of Photo Mode, speedrunners can survive a lethal fall onto this rocky plane below the Spider Mastermind boss room. This can be achieved by entering Photo Mode just before the player lands onto the rock, and then proceeds by leaving Photo Mode as soon as the player touches the ground while in Photo Mode. After landing on the rocky plane, speedrunners then use Photo Mode again, but this time to touch the trigger of the final cutscene, which is directly located on top of the teleporter pad in the credits room, which players are normally warped to after defeating the Spider Mastermind. This method, which utilizes Photo Mode to skip the Spider Mastermind, is unfortunately exclusive to NG Plus speedruns, as Photo Mode is only unlocked in completed save files. But the community kept theorizing about how skipping the Spider Mastermind could be made possible in the new game categories, but unfortunately, nobody was able to figure out on how to overcome the lethal fall onto the large rock below the boss room, and even if players could, how can they even get close to the credits room? But then, in September 2021, everything changed. On the 15th of September 2021, Doom 2016 speedrunner Sabuline Horizon posted a video in the Modern Doom speedrunning Discord titled Spider Mastermind Skip. Sabuline had in fact posted a method to skip the Spider Mastermind fight in a new game save file, meaning this was finally it, a Spider Mastermind skip for any percent. After all those years of theorizing about the possibilities, the community finally found a way to do so. A big discovery indeed, but the method shown in the video comes with some caveats, as the method seemed unbelievably difficult and daunting. Sabuline's video starts by going out of bounds around the Spider Mastermind boss room and looks for a very specific spot on top of one of the rocks. He then proceeds by jumping down towards the large rock below the boss room, aiming for an incredibly precise spot to land on, which, when hit correctly, allows the Doomslayer to grab an invisible ledge and negate all lethal fall damage. After executing this very difficult part successfully, Sabuline then shows that there is a spot on the large rock that a player would be able to clip through using a method called a paperclip. After performing the paperclip, Sabuline uses a double Gauss boost to fly into the credits room and hit a trigger located on top of the teleporter pad to start the final cutscene. Landing on top of the rock in the absolute correct spot to get the ledge grab is very inconsistent. The lack of setup means that there's a lot of added variance in how the drop could play out, and means the run could instantly end there. This extremely scary method, when executed properly, saves as little as 10 seconds. As fighting the Spider Mastermind from start to finish takes about 50 seconds when using BFG weapon wheel abuse. Not long after release of Sabuline's video, the community also discovered there is another spot to paperclip through after dropping down on a large rocky surface below the Spider Mastermind boss room. Although this new paperclip is more difficult due to how the wall is layered, it is located much closer to the spot runners land and ledge grab the invisible wall, and saves time as now less distance has to be traversed over the rock to get to the paperclip spot, and saves plasma ammo to perform additional Gauss boosts with. On the 3rd of November 2021, the founder of the initial skip, Sabuline Horizon, would also be the first runner to finish an any percent run using this new Spider Mastermind skip. Very impressively, Sabuline demonstrated both his knowledge and execution on the skip, and managed to perform the entire skip, showcasing that with practice and an improved lineup, and a Gauss shot off one of the rocks around the Spider Mastermind boss room, he created a bit more consistency around the skip, as well as performing the more difficult paperclip first try. Even though this skip would now save around 10 seconds, due to the high risk and still somewhat low reward of this new method in a run, most runners would end up choosing to opt out of it. Since, is gaining 10 seconds worth it if it means losing your run potentially right at the very end? As some runners were still trying to find their own consistency on the only existing iteration of the skip, other runners couldn't help feeling that the Spider Mastermind skip was still unexplored, and that there could potentially be more consistent and less risky ways to perform the skip. And one of these runners would of course be none other than Seeker. On the 18th of November 2021, Seeker posted a video titled Doom Invincibility Glitch. The video Seeker linked is a video from user Pentalex and dates all the way back to the year 2017. In the video, Pentalex showcased how they were able to somehow completely fall through a kill plane in the level Vega Central Processing, but they were seemingly surprised and also unable to explain as to how this exactly occurred. Seeker became curious and performed several attempts to replicate this method, and discovered that there was a trigger present that prevents fall damage, which is located just below the Mega Health in a shaft in Vega that the player drops through. One of the Doom modders also confirmed that this trigger was indeed present by inspecting the game's code. As it turns out, an entity in one of the game files called it_target_player invulnerability is responsible for making the player invulnerable. If the parameter invuln is false, yes, this is a typo in the code itself, is present, it toggles off the invulnerability state. Otherwise, it turns invulnerability on. Although, players would have to search for an entity that references the invulnerability entity, as in most cases, there will be a trigger that then activates it, instead of the player activating the invulnerability entity directly. By hitting a trigger right underneath the mega health in this shaft, the game toggles on the invulnerability state and then removes the invulnerability again as soon as the player hits the ground. In the video from Pentelix, they were most likely able to skip the game toggling off this invulnerability state by simply not touching the ground after falling through the shaft, and were therefore able to drop through a kill plane close by without dying. With this newly found knowledge, Seeker would start experimenting further in Argent D'Nur, and just a few hours later, he would then post a revolutionary video titled Free Spider Mastermind Skip. In his video, Seeker makes his way through the first part of Argent D'Nur and then gas boosts to what speedrunners like to call the final Wraith arena. In this arena, he gas boosts from a rock and tries to extendo grab a trigger that is used to interact with the Wraith, which is active as long as the fight surrounding the Wraith isn't triggered itself, and then reloads checkpoint to skip the rest of the animation. By reloading checkpoint, Seeker spawns back in before the Wraith and skips the whole fight, but also opens the entrance to the Spider Mastermind boss fight, which is normally blocked off by a big stone skull. Seeker then drops from the skull entrance into the Spider Mastermind boss fight, but instead of dropping down into the arena itself, he uses some clever mid-air movement and gas boosting to gain extra height, and is able to go out of bounds and fall all the way down onto the large rock underneath the boss room without actually dying. He could now do the paperclip and finish the skip in the usual fashion. This new skip that Seeker discovered is made possible by abusing the same invulnerability mechanic as performed in the video from Pentelix. The itTarget_player invulnerability entity is activated when dropping from the skull into the boss room, and its intended use is to toggle off the invincibility state as soon as the player hits the ground and starts the Spider Mastermind boss fight cutscene. But by effectively going out of bounds and not hitting the ground of the arena, the invulnerability entity is never toggled off when dropping down onto the large rock below the boss room. A huge discovery. Within a month overall, the community managed to not only make the Spider Mastermind skip safer and more consistent, but also simply faster, as this new iteration of the skip can now save over 15 seconds, with good execution of the trigger skip and a fast paperclip to end it. With such time saved in the run, there would inevitably be new personal best times to follow. On the 8th of December 2021, nearly 3 weeks before release of this video, Seeker finished a 19-minute and 13-second any percent run, and set a new world record time using this new iteration of the Spider Mastermind skip. In the video, besides having a little bit of a slower start than Argent D'Nur, the Spider Mastermind skip itself is executed pretty cleanly from start to finish. Seeker not only set a new world record using this skip, but also managed to set a new personal best Argent D'Nur segment of 1 minute, 29 seconds and 350 milliseconds. A roughly 16-second improvement over most best Argent D'Nur segments from other runners that did not use the Spider Mastermind skip. 9 days later, on the 17th of December, Speedrunner Knight beat the any percent world record one more time, setting a time of 18 minutes, 28 seconds and 240 milliseconds, and managed to beat Argent D'Nur in 1 minute, 28 seconds and 260 milliseconds. A fantastic run and milestone, as it is the first sub-19 minute any percent time ever achieved. Both these new runs from Seeker and Knight are amazing runs, and I encourage you to go and watch these runs and see for yourself how skillfully they managed to blaze through the run, as well as this new Spider Mastermind skip. You can find both of the runs linked in the description of this video. Thus conclude the story of the Spider Mastermind skip. With the Spider Mastermind skip for any percent being just roughly 3 months old, who knows what can happen further with the skip and what times could follow? Time can only tell. If you are interested in speedrunning either Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, then consider joining the Modern Doom Speedrunning Discord, which I will also link in the description of this video. Also, big thanks and shoutouts to the Modern Doom Speedrunning community for providing me with footage and detailed explanations to use for this video. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, then please consider subscribing to the channel, as it helps out a lot.